right, I think we are live now. Usually people will gradually come, so in the first few minutes we can just casually chat.
Yeah, sounds good.
Okay, no problem.
Cool.
So, any fun plans for the weekend?
Not specifically for me. Quite busy these
Yeah.
days.
On the weekend, we have also a founder and investor socials. Actually, in Jen's place, in the mansion, pretty awesome places. Anyone who are interested in joining, go to check our Numa calendar. It should be a lot of fun. I think 21 people already joined.
Sounds good.
Hello, everyone. Thank you very much for coming. Welcome to Founder Coho. For anyone who joined here, we would love to know where you're calling from. Please message where you're calling from, the locations, countries, cities. Let me see. Los Altos. Agnes, great. Thanks. Great to see you. Los Altos is a beautiful place. Auckland, Stephen, Auckland, great. We have a strong presence in Bay Area. SF, yes. Sanil, great. Sunnyvale, yeah. Sanil, I think Yijia is also in SF now.
Yeah,
Palo
recently.
Alto, Hong Kong, that's great.
Wow.
Beanie, thanks for calling from Hong Kong.
Hong Kong, that's early morning, right?
Yeah, it's early morning. Thanks for getting up early for Founder Coho. Hope you're enjoying as together with the breakfast. Canina, San Jose, great. Nope, Palo Alto, Dannyville, CA, it's great.
Really concentrating the Silicon Valley.
Yeah, well, there are a lot of founders in the Silicon Valley. Austin, we have a strong presence in the southern part as well, not just in the Bay Area. There's founders everywhere. Jay's from South Korea, great, another Asia presence. Yeah, thanks for getting up early. From Milpitas, great. Albie from Oakland. It's awesome to see everyone calling from all around the world. San Jose, Alicia from San Jose. Yeah, thank you very much for spending the afternoon, the morning with us. I know you have plenty of options to spend, and you choose to be here. Hope you enjoy the event today. South Africa, Andre, great. Wow, love to see the founders from South Africa. Cool. I think we have 46 people joining. People are also gradually coming. We will start in 1 minute. Okay, cool. Anyone from Europe? Curious to see. Not yet, but we have a strong presence in multiple continents already. Cool. All right, so let's get started. Thank you very much, everyone, for coming to this event, and welcome to Founder Coho. My name is Jin Kona Wang. I am your host today. And Founder Coho is a founder community that help founders to share their stories and learn from each other. So we organize regular events like this, both online, and we also have offline events in the Bay Area as well, regularly. We also do founder interviews in our YouTube channels. So there are some QR codes of our LinkedIn, WhatsApp, and WeChat. So please subscribe us if you want to stay in touch afterward. Also, I also have a day job as a founder of Deep Vista AI. So we'd love to also share with the community briefly about Deep Vista. Let me just do quickly. So Deep Vista is AI agents that help business owners to turn every business conversation into winning outcome. It will turn scattered conversations in the business into a knowledge base and help you to manage your inbox. So if you're interested, please come to sign up our waiting list in the deepvista.ai. And so today we have great conversations with had Yijia to come into sharing her research recently about the AI, future of AI agents. And also, this event wouldn't be possible without our great partners, Tanka. So we'd love to have Jen from Tanka is already also here. So let me have Jen come to sharing more. Hi, Jen.
Okay, great. Okay, hi everyone. Really excited to be here today. My name's Jen Zhao. I'm from Tanka Growth Marketing Team. So I've got something special to share with the founder Coho community. So we're opening early access to Tanka AI fundraising agent. And for now, it's just for founder Coho's community members. So everyone else, they will have to wait on the wait list. So what is Tanka fundraising agent? You can think of it as your AI co-founder for fundraising. So we all know that fundraising is tough, and as a founder, you're tweeting your pitch deck late night, and you get stressed out about what questions the investor might throw at you, right? So and also you're trying desperately. I've learned this from lots of founders. They're trying desperately to get warm interest instead of sending tons of cold emails to VCs, right? So the fundraising is very exhausting, and it eats up months of your time. So that's why we built Tanka fundraising agent to take the heavy lift off your shoulder, so you can stay focused on what really matters. So here's what it does for you. So first, it helps you to evaluate your pitch deck, and it gives you customized recommendations to make it truly to make your pitch deck truly investor ready. We trained our model on a database of the startups that successfully raised money. So the feedback you got is really relevant, practical, and also right to the point. And also, we run the mock VC interviews. Yeah, you can see the mock pitch interview. So our AI agent hitting you with the tough questions, and trust me, it's really tough. So when you walk through into real investor meetings, you're fully prepared. And the most important feature is the fundraising agent. We give you the access to our exclusive VC network. So they're really connections from our own investors. That means you're not just knocking on random doors and sending cold emails. We're connecting connecting you with the real VCs and getting you the warm intro with the real VCs. So the beta for the fundraising agent now is open to the founder Coho community, and everyone else has to be wait on the wait list. So if you're raising right now or planning to do so in the near future, so you can click the link. I think, yeah, they already sent the link in the chat group. So click the link and start using Tanka's AI's fundraising agent beta. Okay, thanks. I would like Jing take over.
Yeah, thank you, Dan. Yeah, so fundraising is very important for founders. So please check out Tanka if you are doing fundraising. Given that, let's move to the sharing part. So we'll have a Yijia to share to give a summary and presentation about this interesting work of future of AI agents. So this will be about 20 minutes, and after that, we're entering interactive Q&A session. So if you have any questions throughout this process, please comment, and we'll read every single comment, and we will ask on behalf of you after Yijia finish sharing. Given that, Yijia, feel free to take it over. I will share yours, putting your screen to the stage.
Yeah, thanks for the very cool introduction. So, hi everyone who is kind of coming from all different part of the world. So, my name is Yijia. Currently, I am a computer science PhD student at Stanford University. So today, I'm really glad to join this founder Coho to share our recent work around auditing the automation and augmentation potential of AI agents across the US workforce. So this work is a joint effort between computer scientists and also economists from Stanford HAI and advised by my PhD advisor, Professor Di Yang. So as Jing mentioned, later we will have like a more in-depth QA session to go through the question and inspire each other. So instead of giving this presentation in a traditional academic way, I want to do some change today. I want to actually tell you 3 stories. So also like for if you are interested in more content, like currently our paper, data, and visualization tour are all online. So you can check out futureofwork.sotlab.stanford.edu for more in-depth information. And personally, since the beginning of my PhD, I have been working on human-agent collaborations, building this agentic system that can work together with humans. So if you are interested, feel free to also check out my personal website for more work I'm doing. So as I said, today I plan to just make some change here. Instead of giving a very academic talk, I want to share 3 stories about fear, desire, and future. So starting from the beginning of this year, I think the concept of AI agent is really taking off. Besides just the excitement in the Silicon Valley, it's also aroused a lot of enthusiasm, but more of these concerns and fear, even in the general public. People are concerned about a few questions. Will these AI agents really lead to productivity gain? Will I still be able to keep my job? Or how would I actually work in the future? So given all this concern, we are also seeing many companies are actually trying to replace human workers with these AI agents. So a couple of months ago, Duolingo, this company, the CEO is publicly staying in LinkedIn saying the company is going to be AI first. So this CEO's announcement is mainly out of the kind of productivity consideration. And after this release, Duolingo stock price actually goes up a bit. However, what they didn't expect is this argument quickly lead to a huge backfire in Duolingo's social media account. So if you don't know, like Duolingo, I think they did a really, really good job in managing their social media account. They have a lot of followers on TikTok and Instagram, and they frequently post like funny language learning video. However, just a few days after their CEO saying the company will go AI first and replace their contractors, many angry people actually go to their TikTok and Instagram and leaving like these angry comments. This even leads to some actual economic loss since many people cancel their premium subscription in Duolingo because they don't like the company anymore. So seeing this, the CEO have to go out and after a few weeks, saying again the LinkedIn saying, oh, to be clear, I do not see AI as replacing what our employees do. So it's kind of funny or ironic. It's like just after 2 weeks, his attitude changed completely. So Duolingo just used a 2 billion example to show us what would go wrong if we don't develop or use the AI agents in a good way and don't clearly think about the relationship between the AI agent and human. So if we look at all these kind of headlines, even though there are a lot of layoffs saying it's kind of due to AI replacing people, another report from MIT also mentioned more than 95% of the generative AI pilots at companies are failing. So it's also a billion-dollar question for AI developer to see how should I actually build useful AI agents? Given all this kind of fear, concern, and puzzle, as a person who has been working in the field since the beginning of my PhD, I do hope to have a more in-depth understanding of what people want, what people don't want, how they want it, and the reason behind. So this is a motivation of why we do this kind of study to develop a human workflow auditing framework that uses an audio-enhanced interface to really get the voice and thoughts from the domain workers. So how it works is instead of just asking the people to take a traditional survey, like with Likert questions, they will first come to our website, having a mini interview with the AI bot. So it's kind of, they just talk aloud their thinking process, and there will be transcripts in the real time, and they can see what they said. And after they expressing all their thoughts, we will ask them to, at that time, to complete some Likert question for more structured answer. So this novel interface led to the workbank, which is the first of its kind database that includes both the worker desire and the technology capability assessed by the AI experts. In total, more than 1,500 workers contribute their voice and source to workbank, and we have a comprehensive audit of more than 800 workflows from the ONET developed by the US Department of Labor. So before I'm moving forward and tell you the second story, I just want to make a pause here. Now I think I cannot really see the audience, but I think it's still like people can guess, like just maybe you cannot say it out, but you can just guess in your heart. We have more than 800 workflows in this workbank, and I just share with you the story of fear. What percentage of workflows do you think people have an average automation desire over 3? Do you think it's like less than 10%? Or B is from 10 to 30%? Or C is 30 to 60%? Or if you are really positive, you think it's more than 60%? I'll just make a pause here. You can think in your heart, and I'll disclose the answer very soon.
You can also type the answers in the comments. Anyone want to try?
What's your guess?
C. Someone type C. B. D.
Oh, that's a very positive one.
D. Okay. Another D.
Okay, this is very cool. So I'll disclose the answer. So actually, from our studies, like 46.1% of the tasks have the automation desire over 3. Which, when I just see the results, I'm a bit surprising because I just shared the story about people are fearing AI agents taking over, and the companies are concerned about like how to really use the AI agent in a nice way. But from the studies, actually people have a relatively positive attitude towards using AI agents for a lot of these tasks. It's around 50%. So when I'm looking to the reason why people are thinking this way, the top one reason is people thinking using the AI agent for some of the tasks would actually boost their productivity and free up their time for more valuable work. This is actually a very interesting source because it's kind of break the usual zero-sum idea of thinking about the relationship between human agents. So usually way people think is just, oh, it's a zero-sum game. If the AI agent do the work, then people have nothing to do. But actually, when we ask the worker what they want and how they want it and the reason behind, people explicitly point out there are things they want AI agent to do, because in this way, they will have the time to do more valuable work. So I think one implication here is if we are kind of building the AI agent, we really want to target this 46% of the task that people need the most instead of like doing the things that people don't really need.
Yeah. Oh, Yijia, sorry for interrupt. A quick question from Shalish. She's asking, what is the definition of automation design? What is this?
This is a very, very good question. I will actually go into it more in depth later. So I think one kind of innovation of this framework is we not only look at the automation part, it's like whether the people just want the AI agent to do it, right? If you think about writing code, now they are Claude Code or this a cursor agent, they were just given a command, they will just do everything for you. But we also think about another dimension, which is augmentation. It's basically how the agent can help human do the thing better, right? Because you can imagine, oh, even I still keep my job as a programmer, but now with cursor, I actually code much better. Also, like my code is kind of more following this industry standard, like with all these comments, like previously I may not have enough time to write all comments for my function, but now with the tab of functionality, I would actually improve my code quality. So this is a good example of not just automating what you are doing, but augmenting your work. But I will go into more of this in details later. So continue on this story, it seems like we are seeing this also people's desire about these agents, right? This is actually a good thing for us, especially as we are working in the space of the agents. It seems like, oh, there are actually some area people want our work. So when I look at the projects, like a lot of agent projects starting from last year, I found like there are some concrete example, like the Sui bench or Sui agents developed by my lab mate Zhong Yang, you probably heard of. I think after this line of the work this year, the concept of coding agent is really taking off. There are many products from the company like Cloud Code, Cursor, Gemini CLI, and GitHub Copilot. And also there's another kind of popular agent project from myself. So last year we have this Storm project, and it's a knowledge curation agent that for any topic, it will automatically research the web and write you a full-length report with citations. So after it got a lot of popularity on GitHub last year, this year I found companies are also releasing products like deep research from different companies. So these are already some concrete example of like, if you make the agents that people want, you can get a lot of this kind of attention on the internet, and also companies already kind of doing very relevant stuff. However, a problem is these are actually the current agent research and development effort. They only concentrate in very, very limited domain, like just coding or deep research. But if we take a step back and place ourselves in a broader concept, right? These two workflows only account for a very, very small percentage of what we say like white collar job or professional tasks that can be done on the computer. So actually in our study, we found based on our Workbank database, when we consider the top 10 occupations by average automation desire and compare their usage in Claude using Anthropic's official data, we found these top 10 occupations, they only account for 1.26% of the total usage. Definitely, you can have different way to interpret this number. But one thing I found really interesting is this actually reveal a huge gap of the AI adoption, and also whether our AI agents or AI chatbots are tailored to the people who need it the most. For example, within the top 10 occupations, they include like text preparer, right? They are actually, I don't think current AI agents are just very good in helping with the text, but they actually need it a lot. Current AI agent, I think, mainly optimized for just coding and math, but this is only accounts for very small percentage of the people who actually need the work. So one cool thing about this study is, if you remember, is Workbank is the first of its kind database that includes both the worker desire and also the technology capability. So this allows us to have this desire capability landscape to categorize each human workflow into different zones. So in this axis, in this figure, in the x-axis from left to right, it means people desire the technology can support better automation for this task. So, and on the y-axis from bottom to top, it means the human desire more to have AI agent to just do it. So in this way, these two axis plots allows us to divide the landscape into 4 zones. The left to right, the left top corner is what we call like automation green light zone. So these are the tasks with high automation desire and also high capability. This means, oh, if you are a decision maker or if you are an agent developer helping a company, then deploying these kind of agents are very likely to give you high return because the technology is mature and also people wanted to use it. And in the bottom of it is what we call like automation red light zone. So this is a very interesting part. Even though based on the AI expert assessment, many of the things the AI can do it. For example, just kind of scheduling some scheduling some meeting with a vendor or kind of preparing the meeting agenda. Like the current AI can do it. But for the people who are actually doing the work, they will think this is something they don't want AI agent to do it end to end. They still want to participate. And if you go into our paper, it has actually more in-depth analysis. So people give these reasons is because they enjoy doing this part of the work, or sometimes they're also worried like this is if everything is doing by AI, they may have job security concern. So as a decision maker, we suggest is think twice when you are trying to deploy the agent for tasks in this area, because this may lead to very low worker buy-in or actually hurts the productivity since people won't actively adopt them. And another one is something as an AI researcher I'm very excited about. So this is like the R&D opportunity zone. So tasks in this category, they will come with high desire, but currently low capability. A very good example is this video game designer. So for video game designer, they may have a lot of cool idea, but prototyping is actually something really time consuming. So for this video game designer who participate in our study, they give really high automation desire for creating prototype. However, based on the AI experts assessment, currently it's still very, very hard for an AI agent to prototype a video game from end to end. So this is something where the technology can still improve. Right now, there are so many people working in the space of the AI, and sometimes people feel struggle, like, I don't really know what I should do. It seems like everything, there's people working on that. But actually, there's still area people need AI's help, but AI is not capable of doing it in a very nice way. And finally, there is this low priority zone, which we include tasks with low desire and low capability. After we categorizing the task into 4 different zones, we actually just curious to see, without our study, what's the current investment or what's the current research and development efforts placing in different zones. So how we analyze is we scrape the Y Combinator company's websites, and for each of the company, we use a classifier built with language model to classify what the company is doing into the task in our workbank database. And since each task, we already placed them in the 4 different zones, we will be able to place the company into the zone. So what we found is the current Y Combinator company is just like evenly distributed in 4 different zones. So that means before we do this kind of study, before we give this kind of direction suggestion, the current investment is just like uniformly investing different parts. Like it does not really consider what is people need the most or what is the technology needing the most. On the other side is we do very similar thing to the research paper. So what we did is we scrape the archive paper since the launch of ChatGPT and filter them with the keywords like AI agents. And then we use the language model to classify them, to map them to the workflow in our database. And then since our workflow is mapped to different zones, we are able to match the paper into different zones. So for the research side, one good thing is we do found there are more papers concentrating in the R&D opportunity zone. This is good. That means the research community is focusing on those tough problems and people need. However, there is still kind of a lot of efforts focusing on the low priority zone or red light zone. So we are really hoping like this study can give people more suggestions in direction or how they pick their next project. Ideally, we hope to work more in the green light zone and this opportunity zone. So another thing I think in the previous part, I remember an audience also asked me a question. It's like, why is just looking at the automation desire? Yeah, this is only a part of the story, right? Because even it's not end-to-end automation, AI agent can have other opportunity or other way to participate in a human's workflow. Just very similar to, I think, if you look at the coding agent space, suppose you are building a coding agent, you probably would ask myself, what's the mode like my coding agent should be when they are helping the human to code, right? Should it be just similar to cursors, this kind of tab auto-completion? Or should I be more aggressive? I do something like agent mode. Or even within the agent mode, if you ever try Claude Code or Cursor, you may find their behavior is actually very different. So I actually tried them both. So I found Claude Code usually for a given query, it will try to do more things. So it will take maybe more than 20 steps and then come back, give you a huge, really large diff. But Cursor sometimes it's usually take less steps and try to give you back the answer quicker. So even within the agent, there can be very different way of how they are working with human. So one cool thing about our study is we have this human agency scale, which is a novel scale to help us quantify automation versus augmentation. So what do I mean here? I think a lot of time when people look at this scale, the first thing that came into their mind is this automation scale of self-driving car, right? If you are living in California, probably already maybe try Waymo or Zoox, yourself. So I think for the self-driving car, their level is from L0, which is no automation, to L5, which is full automation. So the goal of the company like Waymo and Zoox, they are trying to move their technology from L0 to L5. This is kind of reasonable. And it has some similarity with the agents, but not exactly. Because the AI agents, their reward function is much more complicated than the self-driving car. If you think about it, what's the reward function or what's the success criteria of the self-driving car? I think the main thing is just you hope to arrive the destination safely, right? If the car can bring you to the destination safely, then you will think, oh, this is a good car. But how about AI agents? I think the story is more complicated because a lot of human work is not just completing or not, it's you also care about the quality of the work. Everyone can maybe write a slides, but some people like in McKinsey, they just do good slides. Or everyone can kind of now vibe code, but some programmers in Google, they're just coding better, right? So it's not just a 0 and 1, this reward function for many human workflows people care about, but we care a lot about the quality. And on the other side, for a lot of people doing work or performing this kind of professional task is not just a source of income, even though this is very important, but it's also a sense of achievement or their meaning of life. Like people need to go out to do something. Otherwise, it's really hard. For many people, it's very hard to imagine them just doing nothing every day, right? So then for different tasks, even maybe AI agent can do it, people may still want to maintain their human agency and maintain their control. So our human agency scale is adopting this human-centered view. So each level is more about reason, the relationship between the human and the agent, instead of saying, oh, more human is better or more agent is better. So it's actually, we think whether which level is suitable for like how much human agency is needed really depends on the task itself. So one thing good about this human agency scale is it allows us to have an in-depth understanding of different occupation. So even it's like just you are building AI software engineer. Actually, software engineer is not just about writing code, right? For computer programmers, we do a bunch of different stuff. For example, they need to also assign, coordinate, and review work, or compile and write documentation. Or it's like correct error, which is debugging. So for different these subtasks, from our study, we found people desire different level of human agency. This means, suppose you are building AI software engineer for them, you need to account for these nuance differences instead of just have a one agent fit all solution. So for example, for just reviewing the work, from our study, we found people prefer to stay in H3, which means to have equal partnership with the AI agent, similar to how you are reviewing a work or discuss the work with your colleague. And luckily, based on the expert assessment, the current technology can also support this level. So this is good. This means, oh, if you build the technology now, the current model or agents can support it. So you just need to keep in mind, oh, I need to ensure people can have equal partnership or good communication with the agent. And for the task of writing documentation, for this one, worker desire to just have stay in H2, which means the human involvement at key points. And based on the expert assessment, the current AI can actually do it end to end. So this is kind of interesting. So now suppose you are cursor. You want to have this functionality of helping people write documentation. Even though the AI agent can do it end to end, you probably want to have the design or configuration to make sure the agent will ask people for suggestion or to review the documentation at a critical point, instead of just do everything and finally give you a very long documentation. This was because this kind of hits more about like how much human agency people desire when participate in this task. And finally, for the example of debugging, this one, if you ever write code, I found really enjoy writing code, but I don't enjoy debugging. So from our study, I also found people, their desired level is only H3. So that means they just want to have equal partnership with the AI agent. They don't want to have like essential human participation. However, based on the expert assessment, the current technology can only support H4, which means humans still need to involve at the majority of the time and using AI as a supporting tool. So this kind of reasonable because I still haven't found AI very, very helpful for me to debug. So this means if we really want to satisfy the user's need, right? User want to be H3, but the technology can only support H4. So this means we still want to invest more in improving the coding agent or improving the underlying model to make sure we can deliver the product that can achieve H3 where the people really desire. So here's actually only 3 examples. Like if you go to our website, even within computer programmers, there is a set of more than 10 concrete workflows they're actually doing. And we have this profile for 104 occupations. So if you are curious to know more, feel free to check out the data visualization tool available at our project website. Yeah, if you go on our project website, you will see something like this. So once you select the occupation, you will see different tasks and what's the level worker desire and what's the current technology can support. So far, let's just make a recap here. The first story I tell is more about the fear. So people are concerning and also companies are puzzling about how to make the agent correct. But the second story is more from the desire, is people actually have the need, and there's part AI can help, but we need to have this in-depth understanding to get the things right. If I'm only an AI researcher, this story probably already be enough. However, I do want to tell a third story as a human being. So if we take a step back and place ourselves in a broader time frame, it's undeniable that technology is changing faster than ever. It takes human around 200 years from steam engine to computer and 50 years from computer to 3G mobile network. But it's only 20 years this AI has evolved in a stage where people are thinking, oh, what should we do in the future? Will I still have the job, right? It's kind of crazy. So what should we do given the technology is changing so fast? So when we start this project, we didn't really think from this dimension. But the very cool thing we found is when we compare those tasks that people think, or like the experts think still need more human agency, and we map them to the underlying human skill, we actually found a change compared to what is the current skill that's favored by the job market. So we kind of use the current wage of the different skill as the importance of how these skills are in the current job market and use the required human agency as more like a prediction of what will be some important human skills. So what we found is some skills like analysis data or processing documentation, they are currently favored by today's job market. But based on the expert assessment, in the future, they may not really need that much human agency. This kind of intuitive because now I think a lot of data analysis work can already done by AI agents. However, this does not mean like there's nothing human can do. It's actually many skills which are currently not valued enough in today's job market are actually very, very important. Suppose AI agents are coming into the workforce. For example, more work involving organization or planning, and also these kind of skills involving interpersonal communication, like training people or communicating with others. So this makes me think is like, besides just developing the agent, we should also proactively audit for the future to prepare our worker to ensure human can still maintain their agency once the AI agents is widely adopted. So this is also going back to like, I think a lot of topic economics or like politics people are talking about. I think today we are living in this aging society, right? This means in the future, there are definitely less people who are working. So if we want to stay in today's life quality, we do want to improve our productivity. So instead of treating the AI agent as a zero-sum game and feel really fear of having AI agent to participate, we should actually try to embrace an more open-minded attitude. We should be able to adopt this agent, but at the same time, prepare our worker to focus more on the skills where the human agency is more needed. So in this way, combining the human and agent could lead to a larger pie instead of staying in a zero-sum game. So this is actually the whole story, like about this desire, fear, and also how we think we should proactively prepare ourselves for the future. If you are interested in this line of work, or have any feedback, feel free to share them through this feedback form. And I'm happy to have more discussion today with the community and also with Jing. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Yijia, for sharing this. This is such a fantastic stories about the evolution of agents and how the future of the work will be like. There's a lot of enthusiasm in the community about the questions. Both they left a lot of questions, and there's also live questions. Would love to get your take. I think Shuli asked one question, is that the AI product right now seems to be built for tech-savvy early adopters. You have an example of the YC community that's mostly in Bay Area, but the workers not like they are not built for workers who currently are get stuck in repetitive, time-consuming tasks. And what is your take about how startups are validating products? Are they doing it in the right approach, and how could startup founders find the right user groups to validate product?
Yeah, this is actually a very good question. Like I said before, it's like when, even though I also be one of the person who kind of build for more popular tool, like the Storm agent I built is more similar. I think it's prior to deep research. So that's why when those deep research came out, we got a lot of popularity. So also I see a lot of these agents are either this deep research type or going to the coding agent type. As you say, it's like not really covering those people who are really doing a lot of time consuming work and need it a lot. So I think one way to think about it is really really need to get a sense of what people are doing. So one fun story about this project is actually, to be frank, before doing this project, I didn't know there are so many works people are doing for many occupations. I even never heard of it myself. So this is a huge problem, right? If all the AI researcher and developer, we only know very limited occupations, then how can we build a technology that can fit more people or kind of reach out the target group that really need the technology? So I feel like the solution first is actually, I think this type of study we are doing is actually a step towards that. Is first we need to understand what's the workforce landscape, right? For example, I can share something here is when I say like when we look at like the top 10 occupations by average automation desire, to be fair, have you ever considered this target group, right? This kind of public safety telecommunicators, compliance officers, tax preparers, even petroleum engineers. To be fair, I'm not exactly know why they think really need AI, but I think not so many people really consider this target group. So this is like one problem. And the second problem I think is actually useful is I think this kind of getting the user to talk aloud their thinking process is actually very, very cool. So in our study, when we design our auditing framework, we use the modern audio model. So it's not just a semi-structured survey, but allow people to talk aloud their thinking process. This actually gives us a lot of very, very useful information. So I think like if you are trying to find a target group, then the first thing to do is probably, instead of just looking at a few occupations everyone is working on, go to look at a broader picture of like what's actually the US labor is kind of distributed. And the second thing is maybe proactively talk with a target group to see what they are actually thinking about and what they are actually doing in their daily work.
Yeah, that's great insights. Toby has another question related to adoption of AI. So he mentioned that there's an MIT study identified change management as a very serious impediment to the AI rollout. I think there's a lot of resistance from organizations to adopt AI. Any thoughts on how those problems can be resolved? And it's in particular based on your learning from your research.
Yeah, this is also a very, very good question. So when we think about the adoption, right, I think there are usually people only think about there are two parties. It's either one party is the manager or the employer, and also another party is the technology provider. So what we want to highlight in this study is there is a third party, which is the worker, when we just released the study, many people ask us, is like, oh, why you target the worker, right? Is ultimately it's those managers who are making the decision. This is correct, but also incorrect. It's like, actually for the economists who are working with us in this project, they told us, they actually have study, if you are interested, I can later share you the link. It's like, they have studies show a lot of time the adoption, whether the adoption is successful or not, highly depends on the worker buy-in. So it's like, even the manager can say, oh, everyone go to use it. But it's very, very hard to enforce, because if the people just don't want to use it, so they kind of, even they are pretending they are using it, but they are not actually use it to improve their productivity, is useless. So this worker buy-in is very, very important. So that's why we think it's really important to see what people desire most and how our tool can fit in their workflow, or how to make them do better work. So I think this is one thing that is currently missing from a lot of these Gen AI pilots. Like usually it's just from a very top down way. So it's like those people's managers think, oh, we need to do this, but never consider like whether their employee really need it. So it leads to very low worker buy-in. So I think this is like one thing that is missing a lot. So actually going back to another thing I want to share is, previously I found, it's not from our study, but just from another study, like they are actually looking at the manager side. So we didn't look at the manager side in our work. So they actually found, comparing 2024 to 2025, the confidence of this manager of thinking using AI agents to replace workers is actually going down. So it's like the people who agree, it's like, I can use AI agent to replace my people, going down with 18%. And for people who disagree, go up with 15%. So this also shows, like, if you just naively think, oh, this is some work, I will just build AI agent for it, this won't work. You really need to consider what your current employee are doing and how they think they can be more productive, and then try to see whether the technology can achieve this.
Yeah, that's a great observation. And like you mentioned, actually the adoption of the workers are very, very important. At the end of the day, you need to build an awesome product that everyone loves to use and improve their productivities. That eventually will lead to adoption. Ying also had two great questions. The first question is, how do you define AI first company? And the second question is, do you see now as a trend that there will be more solo founders because of AI agents?
Yeah, this is actually also a very good question. I think sometimes I even feel a bit surreal. It's like recently I'm spending my time in San Francisco. So there are so many AI agent startup like advertisement. It's kind of crazy. It's like every day I seem to run into new company. I think the speed of doing things is getting faster and faster. I actually totally agree. I think this trend of one person can do more thing, this will be a trend, because in the past, for example, it's very hard for a person to do both, like a front end, back end, and algorithm. But now it's like you don't need to have full experience with the front end, but you can quickly kind of develop like a prototype. So I think I totally agree. It's like this will be a trend, like a person can do multi-role. It's also kind of resonating with what we found in our study. Is like in the future, one important human skill would be organizing and planning. It's not maybe just analyzing data. It's kind of people will move from doing very, very concrete thing to doing a little bit more high level stuff. But at the same time, I'm also not very sure about like whether this single company thing would last for a very long time, because as what we just discussed, this deployment or the actual buy-in, this will require you really understand the domain you want to deploy your product in, and also make sure the product can actually tailor for the need people have. So this means it's very hard. It's very maybe easy for you to, as a solo team, to create a very cool demo or prototype. But to make sure it's really adopted, this involves even some field study. You may need to even go to the place to see how they are using it. So this still sometimes require team effort. So I feel this single person team would kind of probably lead to a good demo or starting point, but ultimately you need a team to make it really good. But what is different from the past is maybe what different people's role in the team would change, right? In the past, maybe one person is just a back-end engineer, one person is front-end engineer, but maybe in the future, the team, still we need a team, but each person's role in the team would be different. And how would that be different? I think this is something I'm also very excited to explore more.
Yeah, Yijia, well said. I think there will be a lot of change in the startup world because of this technology evolution. And also from the founder Coho side, one thing we believe is that there will be much more people to do startup, to be founders because of AI agents, because of technology. They might do as a solo, they might do still form a team. I think that trend we will need to see, but the clear trend is there's more people are doing startups now, and we want to be the platform to really founders coming together and helping to make the whole journey. Great questions, Yin. TSM must have also had a great questions on as AI agents taking more tasks. Do you think that it still makes sense for people to study traditional jobs at the university? Yijia, what is your take?
Yeah, this is a very tough question. I think this is something more professors in Stanford should also think more about. And I can even share is like, I have been staying the programs for 2 years, and to be fair, I think a lot of my peers is also dropping out. Is they found they're actually dropping out either from PhD or from their undergrads. Like I see many people go out to directly go to industry or do their startup. So I think one thing about like definitely for the education, I think the curriculum need to be changed, but like how to change it is still really complicated. To be fair, I'm not exactly know. I just think the curriculum need to be changed. But on the other side, I think a lot of the study process, this is still valuable, but just like it's probably we need to come up with way to ensure people are not just directly copying answer from AIs. Because take my personal experience as example is like in my undergrad, I'm not a CS major, but I'm doing like data science in Peking University. So it's cross CS and statistics. So we don't really need to take all the CS course. However, I still took like courses like traditional CS course, like compiler or operating system. To be fair, I don't think that I ever need those knowledge from what I'm doing now. It's like I'm more as an AI researcher. I don't really write compiler. I don't write operating system, right? We already have solution for that. But I found the experience of you learning this course, you're trying to solve the problem on its own. This still has a value, even though knowing how to write compiler won't maybe help me get a job right now. But like the experience of knowing how to make a complicated software, this is still valuable. So I think a lot of the education in college is still meaningful. Also, another thing is like college provides you a way to communicate with people, right? You need to team up to do something or need to make presentation. So this is actually some soft skill you're actually also practicing. So I think I still believe this education is still very, very valuable, even though this concrete knowledge GPT knows better than your professor. But on the other side, I totally think the university should think really hard to see how to update the curriculum and how to ensure students can still learn and not take a shortcut, just use AI.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I think university also provides a lot of like land working environment, softer skills, like you mentioned. A follow-up from Mustafa is about what do you take on the entry level jobs? Do you think they will be gone because of AI agents?
Yeah, this is actually a very concerning topic. I think one thing I'm a bit unsatisfied with this study is like it's already very hard for us to find like 1,500 people. So we didn't really break it down into like in different occupation. We didn't like found different target people for different level, right? It will be more interesting if we can make this database to include sorts from different level and compare. But actually, even though we didn't specifically target this when we do the study, we do ask people what's level, like how many years of experience they have. So we actually found that their desire of using agent actually have a positive correlation with the experience. So what that means is like for people who have more experience, they are more willing to have AI agent to participate in their work. So this kind of is like intuitive. So maybe for people who are in the entry level, they just worry like if using AI agents maybe I don't even got the job, then what's the point of using it, right? So, but I do think a more in-depth understanding of how this would affect the entry-level job would be more important. But on the other side, I still want to highlight like this figure here is like last year, maybe many managers, they think, oh, I don't need to hire new people anymore. But changing from 2024 to 2025, people are kind of still changed. They still think humans are valuable. So I think if we never hire any entry level people, then how can we later get more experienced people, right? On the other side, it's like if now you only hire experienced people, actually the cost is very, very high compared to you hire like a new grad. So I still think like the entry level job won't be erased completely. I'm not so pessimistic about that. But at the same side, it's like what the entry level job should do, right? How you make sure your employee is contributing what AI cannot contribute. I think this is a question like different enterprise should all think about it. And I also think like school should actually help those enterprise think about it, right? I think actually what I'm personally thinking is like after going back in the fourth quarter, I'm also planning to help my advisor to kind of renew some of our courses to just show example of like what people can do with the AI to produce more work. Yeah.
Yeah, I think very great point, Yijia. And as an AI startup founder, I also feel the same way. If we don't hire junior people, how they get experiences? That's a great question. I think the university can play a lot of roles to alleviate that concerns. For example, by making the courses to be more practical, have more internship positions, so they can basically get the experience while they are studying. So when they enter the job market, they already are experienced. Yeah, cool. So for the next one, I think Lucas and Sanik asked the two similar questions. I'll combine them. So the question is about YC founders. So you specifically do the surveys on the YC founders. And why do you think YC founders are not targeting on the right industries? And do you think this is related to the VC dynamics?
Yeah, I want to clarify a little bit. So we are not saying they are not like specifically avoiding the correct thing to do. I think the problem is basically they are not clearly think about what they need to do. So if you look at like a breakup chart we actually have in the paper, is they just so first the first thing is like there are way more YC companies compared to YC just get started. It's like now every year I think there are it's exponentially grow like how many YC companies. And on the other side is like they are just evenly distributed in the four zone, which is kind of reasonable, right? It's like these four zones are highlighted by our study. So before the study come out, there's no any guideline. They just invest. So then it's like if you don't prioritize this worker-centered view or think about what people want and you just invest, then naturally the distribution would be kind of evenly distributed among different zones. So this is actually our observation. It's not saying the YC company are completely ignoring what the correct thing to do. It's just like they are not focusing on what's the right thing to do. So this is like one point I want to highlight. But we do hope it's like this study could help more of the resource to go into where the people want the most instead of just evenly distributed in all sorts of the things.
Yeah. Thanks, Yijia, for sharing that. I think that you did a lot of great research on this. Actually, for me as a startup founder, I found it very helpful. I can guess that around the reason why it's very random before because a lot of founders or potential aspiring founders, when they're looking for startup ideas, they just have no idea what they work on. So they would have come up with a lot of ideas, try, and there's a lot of pivot happen. So the whole field feels a little bit like Brownian motions.
Yeah.
That causes randomness, but I think your research will help to drive the clarity in the community.
Yeah.
Cool.
This is actually good to also know from your like as a founder or like I really like this discussion with the founder community because previously when I look at the results, first thing I feel, it's so weird. It's like how can it be so even, right? The data does not look correct. But then after second thought, it's like if you see, because in the past I studied statistics, right? It's like if you just don't have any idea, you randomly toss the kind of make the decision, then it's like the even distribution is something would converge to. But we all know this is not really effective, right? It ends up will have a lot of pivoting and a lot of resource wasted. So we actually think this is what we hope this study could help.
Yeah, absolutely. We'd love to like to see if there's anything we can contribute on your research in the future. We'd love to also do like offline events in the future, so you can actually get to talk to founders.
Yeah, I also really hope to just call out a huge thank you for Jing. Is the reason why I get in touch is because when I reach out, how we get the data is I could reach out to people on LinkedIn, and Jing is one of the people who respond and participate in the study. So that's how we got connected.
Yeah, thank you, Yijia. It's a great honor for me to participate in this study and also share this awesome study with the community. Looking for the more research, follow-up research on that. I want to also move to a questions that Billy is asking, and he's asking a very interesting question. It's like, there's two ways to create these AI agentic solution systems. One is that there will be new startup building a new systems on top of these AI agents technology, or it could be existing companies that adopt technology to their existing product. So what is your take on which approach will be the mainstream? Do you think startups, the AI native startups, going to have upper hand, or the existing company who adopts AI agents?
This is actually a very good and also hard question. So I don't exactly have very clear idea, but I can share my thoughts. So when I start my PhD working in the field, so for me, we are more closer to like what you say is like AI native because we are not have any existing thing. We are more advancing or exploring what is possible. But what we found is sometimes this exploration is very likely to be copycat once it gets popular. So if you think about it, it's like, I think for my lab mates work, this sweet bench, sweet agent, after it's released, there are many companies doing similar thing. And for my own work, the Storm, after got it out, as many companies are doing like deep research. So this is one challenge for this AI native companies because you don't have like your existing business model. So you are exploring new things. A good thing is like you can explore fast, but how can you ensure your work won't be quickly copied by big tech because they have a lot of engineer, right? If they found something is cool, they can quickly just do a replicate. So this is like one challenge for the AI native company, but I still think still huge opportunity because they are nimble, so they can move fast, and also if they are willing to go deep into a domain to really understand the domain know-how and work with them, this is a huge advantage because not so many big tech, they have the patience to doing that way. But on the other side, I do agree, the big tech, they are having more money and also more people to do the thing. So they'll probably still lead a lot of things, especially in the foundation model size. But I don't necessarily think they will have specific advantage in agent side, but compared to AI native startup. But definitely still very, very challenging, like how we make sure our idea could turn into real business mode and won't be easily copied. I think this anyone should work in the space should give more thoughts.
Yeah. Thanks for sharing, Yijia. So that's a really great thinking on this. It's a very hard question. I think most of startup founders get asked on this question as well. How would you compete with the big companies on that?
Yeah, I think this kind of going very deep into domain kind of know-how, this is actually one good thing. And another thing is like you can always try out crazy idea. I think this is another advantage because if you ever work in a big tech, they have a lot of consideration. It's not that easy for them to move fast.
Exactly, and there's a lot of niche that startup founders can try. Like one thing that actually gave me a strong impression is like you listed so many industries, like the oil industry and all that, they all need like AI agents. I think there's a lot of spaces for startup to exist over there. I think another question related about this finding a niche. I think Tian has a question on that. It's like startup word often says, "Oh, find a niche and crush it." And from your research, you are doing research for more holistic user perspective, like just like mapping out different territory, more horizontal. So what would be your suggestion for founders to do research and find the direction to work with?
Yeah, this is a very good summary of what our work is doing. So our work is definitely more holistic. We try to have a good coverage. So I think this type of research is more still very different from like how startup, even though I haven't do my startup, I roughly get a sense. It's like I think I still agree like startups should have their focus. The reason why we do our study in this way is more from we hope to provide a holistic view for people to understand what's the overall landscape of the AI agent. So in order to inspire more agent projects. But for example, going back to my concrete, like besides doing this work with economists, I think the majority of my time is still building models and agents. So if I'm doing that part of the work, I will make sure I'm doing something really concrete instead of like trying to targeting everything. But this study is a bit special because I think it's closer to those economic study where you are in a higher position, you are looking at the holistic view. So I think this is a bit different.
Yeah, I can't agree more. I think Yijia, like you mentioned, this holistic research is more about creating the map for the startup. So I think what you did such a meaningful and significantly useful research that help founders to get a map. But the founders doesn't need to go to every single point.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, different founders will find their own paths depending on own startup journey, their own passion. But collectively, we can map out the territory together.
Yeah.
Cool. Awesome. Yeah, thank you so much, Yijia, for sharing your research. It's awesome research and answer the questions from the community. And in the interest of time, we will start to wrap the sessions. And also, we'd love to have you come back to Community Shell, like in person. We'll have more events like this. And also, yeah, so for everyone who are staying until this point, please scan the QR code to follow Yijia's research. Also, there's a form, I think, feedback form you can submit over there. And also separately, thanks everyone for joining the Founder Coho event. And please scan this code to keep in touch. Cool.
Yeah. Thanks for hosting me. It's a really
Thank
nice.
you, Yijia.
The questions you raised.
Yeah, thank you so much, Yijia. Wendy K, you left a new questions. Maybe Yijia, you can just answer that question
Okay.
quickly. So what do you also consider external constraints that may slow down adoption?
Can you explain more by external constraints? What you?
The regulation, basically, the regulating industry.
Yeah,
Like
yeah, yeah. This is actually another. I think one audience of our study is also targeting more like the policymaker, because now, if you imagine, right, if everyone think this AI agent is a zero-sum game, if everyone use AI agent, people have nothing to do, then definitely there will be a lot of concern from the policy part, like politicians. However, one thing we really want to highlight in this study is like there is a chance, not like this title, which is like my ending slide, is like there's a chance for human agent to collaborate rather than replacement. So if we can really show policymaker this AI agent is leading to this add-on value, we make the pie larger, then I think this adoption will be much smoother compared to a lot of the current AI agents. I think sometimes too hype is just saying, oh, we are replacing designer, we are replacing this, replacing that. I think that kind of discourse will actually cause the adoption to be slowed down. However, if we change a way we develop this thing and change a way we sell the thing, this would actually be helpful even for the adoption. And even we actually need to demonstrate to the policymaker like we're actually improving the productivity, and also people still will keep their job, so it won't lead to mass kind of job loss. So I think this is very important.
Yeah, great say. And I think that this will eventually lead a lot of job creation as we human are moving, AI has more tools, more capability to do more creative things. Yeah, thank you, Yijia, and really appreciate your time and looking forward to see you in future events.
Okay, see you. Yeah.
See you. Bye. Okay, that's ended.